Bailee Bob's Boneyard, where we're all about barkers, blood, books, boxes, and burps. Today I'm going to be doing a horror movie review on A Nightmare on Elm Street. This is one of my all-time favorite horror movies. Not even just favorite horror movie, but favorite movie in general. So before I get into the review, I just wanted to show you guys some cool stuff that I have. I have this Freddy doll, and it was signed by the Robert Englund, who plays Freddy Krueger, and it says, "I'm your boyfriend now, Bailee Bob," with his signature at the bottom. And the reason he signed that is because one of the famous lines in the first movie, he goes, "I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy." Here's the picture I took with the cast and my mom when we went to go meet them. Me and Robert Englund are in the middle. He's being all cute. And then around us, that's my mom. And then this is Ronnie Blackley. She played the mom of this girl who is Heather Langenkamp. She played Nancy. And this is Amanda Weiss, and she played Tina. So, yeah. So now I'm gonna get into the actual movie review. A Nightmare on Elm Street was filmed in 1984, directed and written by Wes Craven. This movie is starring Robert Englund, my man, and Heather Langenkamp. Wes Craven was a super awesome writer and director, and unfortunately he died in 2015, and we all miss him very much. The main horror elements of this movie and all the movies preceding it with Freddy Krueger are blood and gore and monsters, because obviously there's blood and gore, and Freddy Krueger is a monster type villain rather than a realistic human being. On my blood scale, I give this movie 5 pints of blood out of 5. And if you watch the movie, you'll see why. The gist of this movie is that it's about Freddy Krueger. He's the killer, but he doesn't kill in a normal way. It's different, and this is where the monster part comes in that instead of just killing them, he gets into their dreams and he kills them in their dreams while they're asleep, and whatever happens to them in the dream happens in real life. The movie will give more backstory and more details to the character, but for now I'm going to tell you about different things that happen in the movie, different bloody fun parts. So now is the time for the spoilers. Towards the beginning, in the first dream that we see, Freddy Krueger is walking towards his victim down a dark alley, and he stretches his arms out, and it's a really cool effect. They stretch out longer than normal arms. I'd say each of them is like 12 feet long or something crazy like that. And seeing him walk with his arms like that, especially when I watched this as a kid, I thought that it was so creepy and cool, and I love that. The cool thing about Freddy Krueger is that he's funny when he kills people. He doesn't just kill them, he makes jokes about it and laughs at them and says stupid, funny things, and he likes to mess with them. One thing that he did that was really cool, he held his hand out, he took his finger knives, he has a glove with knives on them, and he cut 2 fingers off, and they started squirting blood, and he was like, ha 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 ha, laughing about the fact that he just cut off 2 of his fingers. My dog is thirsty. Are you good? Towards the end of this nightmare, Tina falls on her back and he's on top of her, and she reaches her hand out and grabs his face like as if she's about to pull off a mask, but instead she pulls off his face, and then you see like the interior of a face, you know, like the muscles and stuff, and he's like ha 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 ha, and he's laughing, and it's so cute. So in real life, when we see Tina die, we don't see Freddy when it goes back to showing her in her bed. All we see is the cuts happening on her chest. She bleeds, her white nightgown is now red. She is pulled to the wall, and she's starting to be dragged up the wall and onto the ceiling, and she's on the ceiling bleeding, and then she finally falls from the ceiling dead onto her bed, and the blood squirts onto her boyfriend. So then it transitions to Nancy. We were focusing on Tina's dreams at first, but now we realize Nancy's actually the main character. And in one of her dreams, she falls asleep in class, and she looks off to the side into the doorway, and Tina, the dead girl, she sees her standing in the hallway in like a body bag that they put dead people in, and she's super, super bloody, and she's like, Nancy. And then Nancy, I guess she looks away and looks back because she's gone. You know how that happens in movies, but there's like just a blood trail. So like any normal person would do, she's like, I guess I'll go follow my dead friend. So she gets up and sees Tina on the ground this time. Her legs lift up magically and she's dragged and her arm flops out of the bag. That's cute. These things probably shouldn't be cute to a normal person. So Nancy follows Tina into the boiler room, and eventually Freddy shows himself and he messes with her again, just like he did when he cut off his fingers. He pulls up his shirt, slices his chest, and instead of bleeding, maggots come out and like yellowish greenish pus. So it's not bloody, it's disgusting, but it's still exciting. And she wakes herself up by slamming her arm into a really hot burning pipe, so it burns her arm. And she's like, ah! And that's how she wakes up in class. She wakes up screaming, going, ah! And all the kids are like, oh, and the teacher is like, ah, because, you know, she's just screaming in class. And she looks later, and there was a burn mark on her arm. And that was like her first piece of evidence that her dreams are actually reality. Later, a fun little scare that happens. This one's not bloody actually, but she's in the bathtub and she falls asleep in the bath, which is dangerous and stupid, but that's besides the point. And in the dream, the bottom of the bathtub drops, so it's bottomless. And Freddy's in there swimming. He grabs her ankle and pulls her down and trying to drown her, but she wakes up eventually and gets out and is alive. So towards the end of the movie, she's falling asleep and dreaming on purpose in the goal of finding Freddy, catching him, pulling him out of her dream, and killing him. So in this dream, when that happens, she sees Tina again, and there's a centipede that like crawls out of her mouth, and there's snakes and bugs and stuff all over her feet. So Nancy's boyfriend, he lives across the street from her, and his death is the reason that I give this movie 5 pints of blood. So we don't actually see the dream itself. We watch him sleeping in his bed and we see the outcome. What happens is he's pulled into the bed, he's sucked in all the way, even his TV gets pulled in, and it pauses for a second, and then it goes, and a stream of blood just throws itself up onto the ceiling to where it looks like there is a river of blood on the ceiling. It is just blood galore. By the way, I forgot to say that was Johnny Depp. That's important, and for some reason it slipped my mind. But fun fact, this was Johnny Depp's first role. Like, this is the movie. This was the movie that put his name out there. So that's a big deal. That's pretty dope. When Nancy finally grabs Freddy and they go into the basement, she's, running away, and everyone runs into the basement. She grabs a torch and she lights him on fire, and he's completely in flames, and he's like, trekking up the stairs while he's on fire. And she leaves and comes back and sees fiery footprints going upstairs. And she follows them and sees that Freddy has gotten her mother, and the mom is now like a skeleton waving and then evaporates into the bed. So then Freddy comes up out of the bed and like through the bed, and she's like, you know what, Freddy, I figured out your secret. You are fake, you're a dream, you died, and you're using my energy and my fear to come alive, and I'm not gonna give you that energy anymore. And he's like, all upset about it. And so he goes to kill her, but he falls through her and evaporates. And she's like, oh yeah, I won. After that, She opens the door and it's a bright sunny day. All her friends are alive. Her mom is alive. And she's like, yay! She takes off with her friends in a convertible, and the convertible hood flips over and it's the color of Freddy's sweater. They drive away. The mom is, like, oh, bye kids, at the window. And Freddy sticks his arm out and grabs her and pulls her into the house. So Freddy got the last word, and then the camera pans to the grass where kids are playing, doing jump rope. It's always little girls in a white dress playing jump rope, and they're singing that song, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, and then that goes through to the credits. The cast made this movie super amazing and memorable and fun, and it makes me so happy that they're also very kind, great people. It was so fun meeting them in real life. They were so nice, so genuine, so down to earth. Robert Englund is one of the nicest people out there, hands down, which is, funny because he's also a child murderer. But he's so sweet. He's such a sweet old man, and I'm so grateful that I got to meet him because he's my idol. The Freddy movies are total classics. If you haven't seen the Freddy Krueger movies, you have to, or you do not qualify as a horror movie fan. It's that plain and simple. Alright, so that's it for today's episode of Bailee Bob's Boneyard. I'm gonna be doing the rest of the Freddy movies for sure, because duh. As always, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, tell me if you love Freddy Krueger 2. Do you have any other horror movie review suggestions for me? I would love to hear those as well. Thank you guys for joining. See you next time. Me and Freddy. Oh my goodness. My goodness! But he doesn't kill in Freddy Krueger movies. Freddy Krueger movies. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your door. 5, 6, grab your crucifix. 7, 8, gotta stay up late. 9, 10, never sleep again.